Hello everyone, today we're talking about improvements that we've made to our Rockwood GeoPro 16 BHS. But this is something that anybody that has bought a travel trailer can do if they have a need for it. And this particularly has to do with brakes. As you can see, we installed an autowbrake controller on our GeoPro. And what's an autowbrake? Sorry, I have a hard time saying that. Autowbrake controller. It's kind of basically a simplified trailer brake controller. It's pretty high tech, at least that's the way they talk about it in advertisement, but I tend to believe that just because this does not require any wiring of a brake controller on the car side of things. This will basically run all the brakes just off of the trailer itself. You know, all you have to do is just wire into the existing umbilical cord or the junction box for it, and then magically you'll have brakes. And if you ever need to activate the brakes manually, all you would do is use this controller here, and I don't know why it's so blurry. There it is. And I already have a command strip on it. You know, I went ahead and put this on the dash of my car and have it sitting there, so that way whenever I need to manually activate the brakes, you know, just to test them. I haven't had to do any emergency braking lately, thank goodness, but you can go ahead and push the buttons, all the buttons at once, and you'll see a little red light that comes on that's basically showing that the trailer brake controller is receiving input. And I can hear the wheels in the back buzzing as I push this, so that means that they're being wheels are being locked up. But you know, again, this simplifies the installation of trailer brakes. If you're contemplating getting a travel trailer or just a trailer in general and you need brakes, this will save you from having to wire one up on the car side of things. And if you only have a 4-pin connector and don't require power to the trailer, you know, if you have solar, actually this one has solar, and it really doesn't require me to have power connected to it while towing, because the solar seems to pick up the slack on that. Then you can just get away with not installing a 7-pin connector in your car and not having to run wiring for the hot wire to power the trailer. And you know, simplifies wiring. That way when you get your trailer, all you need to do is get a 7-pin or 4-pin connector and then connect that to your existing 4-pin on your car, and you'll have brakes. And the cool thing about that too is that let's say you're very benevolent and you want to loan your trailer to somebody or a friend, and they have an SUV or a truck but don't have a 7-pin connector, then they could also be able to take the trailer with them and still have full functionality of the brakes, as long as you remember to give them the control to be able to manually apply the brakes should something happen. But the installation on this was pretty easy, and I've already taken it on 2 big runs, and the longest run was from Sweetwater, Texas all the way down to Long Beach, and it worked flawlessly. You know, whenever I had to brake abruptly, I didn't feel like all of the weight of the trailer was being shifted onto the car. It felt like the brakes on the trailer were working the way they were supposed to. And whenever you come to subtle stops, also the trailer comes to a subtle stop, and that's pretty cool in my book. But just to go a little bit over the installation, I mean, obviously it's already installed, but before we start that, this box here does not come with the trailer brake. It's a plain old box, waterproof little box, utility box that I found. I think I bought it at Home Depot for like 10 bucks. I just decided to put it in there because you know, this thing was pretty expensive. It was around 300 bucks, and I didn't want to expose it to the elements. But autowbrake says you can install this inside the trailer or outside of the trailer. It doesn't matter. Sorry, I just dropped my little 5-volt solar panel there. But you can install this outside. I mean, there's really no worry of it being damaged. It's weather tight. And yeah, let me talk about the installation a little bit. So I ended up installing this on the A-frame on the travel trailer. I should have gone a little bit lower in case I ever want to get a battery box, but that's neither here nor there. And this is what I did. I ended up buying a little junction box from Amazon that came with another umbilical. And here's the one that is attached to that junction box. You see the big wire coming out of it here. I just put more silicone on there just to be safe. But What I ended up doing was cutting the existing umbilical cord. Instead of going into the junction box was really complicated, so I just went ahead and got this. I severed the connection to the existing umbilical cord. And sorry if it's not called, I forget what the term for it is. I just call it umbilical cord, but I'm sure there's something else that it's called. But I went ahead and bolted this junction box to the bottom of the A-frame there with some self-tapping screws, and I just basically connected the lugs. The umbilical cord that comes with the junction box already obviously has colored wires to it, and they're already connected to those lugs. So I just went ahead and put them in that same order. I put ring connectors on the existing umbilical that I cut open and connected it to those lugs. And same thing with the auto brake controller. I went ahead and there's this wire that runs underneath this box, comes out of the auto brake, and then it makes its way back into this junction box. I forget which side it's on, but it goes in, and those smaller gauge wires belong to the auto brake. And it's pretty much just a matter of matching up the colors. The auto brake has pretty good instructions on how to do this, but you know, if you're not colorblind, I'm sorry for those that are, but if you're not, it's a lot easier to just match up colors, really. There's some other specifics. If you're gonna run a 4 pin connector on your car, I have a 7-pin connector, but if you're gonna run a 4-pin connector, you have to wire up the trailer lights to the power so that whenever your lights are on the tow car, on the tow vehicle, you can go ahead and have power to the auto brake. Otherwise you won't have power. So that in a nutshell is pretty much what's involved in installing this. Should you have any questions about the auto brake, feel free to leave them in the comment section. But you know, just between you and us, well, I guess me and you is, or you and I rather, is that it works really well. You know, we like the way it works, and it's pretty easy, and it kind of takes the trouble out of having to wire up the trailer controller in the car. And if you want to be able to do it, do trailer brakes in an easy way, this would be a good option for you. You know, other people like their trailer brakes in the trailer brake module in the car, and that's awesome, but in my Highlander we really couldn't figure out where to put it so that we could access it should we need to do some emergency braking. So that's why we decided to go with this and kind of pay a little bit more of a premium. But it works awesome, and we're happy with it, and definitely recommend it should you need trailer brakes. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Thanks.